Thanks for tuning in to the Playbook Sports Horse Report on the Prime Sports Network as we talk more thoroughbred horse racing with John Hardoon from The Sheets and Mark Lawrence from PlaybookSports.com. John, how's it going?
Good. How are
I'm
you?
doing good. And Mark Lawrence, how's everything going? And big week, big
Everything's
month for
going.
college basketball.
It's going to be week one for college basketball, the NCAA tournament next week, so it's a big weekend this weekend. I know it's a big weekend for horse racing, and I know John loves it. Santa Anita. He's a California guy, and we're talking about Santa Anita today.
Yeah, it's next week we have just one stakes race on the card. That's at Santa Anita, but then after that we have the Florida Derby. So a couple more weeks to go here, and then the action is really going to start picking up. We want to make sure to remind everybody to check out PlaybookSports.com. You can order a full card of selections for any track. That's a $25 value, and you'll receive any second track for free. This is an offer that is for the same day's races only. And please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos just like this. Our races today are both from Santa Anita Park, including our race of the week, the Grade 1 Beholder Stakes. We also have the Grade 3 San Simeon Stakes that will kick off our show today. And before we do that, though, just a quick look back at last week when Kentucky Derby favorite Life is Good won easily in the San Felipe. It was a very impressive win, John. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw up the Derby standings here, and I believe he's right there tied with what was that? What was it? The Greatest Honor. So those are the top two horses. Do you see a difference between those two horses right now, John?
Well, Life is Good is lightly raced, has fewer races, and he's undefeated. So he only has 3 starts. Meanwhile, there's a third horse out there just waiting in the wings for trainer Brad Cox, named Essential Quality. Don't go to sleep on him because he's been ultra impressive in all of his races. He ran at Oaklawn Park a couple of weeks ago. It was his first race as a 3-year-old, and he ran a huge figure that day in a driving rainstorm. So, those are the 3 top guns at this point, but obviously things could change. In this game, you're never safe until you get into that starting gate on the first Saturday in May.
And then Weyburn, the Canadian horse, a 46-1 long shot win in the Gotham, which is not a surprise because, Mark, when we talked about it last week, the Gotham was just a big, there wasn't, the field was just nowhere near as strong as the San Felipe, so an upset win was not a surprise.
Not at all, and I can understand why John did not want to tackle that race. That race was not very favorable as far as I think his numbers go and as far as handicapping the race goes. Hence, no surprise, a big long shot wins. John mentions Essential Quality. That horse has really got a real nice racehorse. He ran the same day Greatest Honor did at the Gulfstream, and they both won in the very same manner. They closed like a jet pilot down the stretch to win their races here. 2 very, very good horses. I understand he may not run in the Louisiana Derby, although he's in Oaklawn. I think Brad Cox is still feeling that horse out right now. We don't know where he'll end up, but he's a horse to watch, as John mentions.
All right, let's get right to it. First race, this is the San Simeon, Grade 3, 6 furlongs, 4-year-old and up. And we're going to start with the 1, Barristan the Bold. This is, to me, the easiest long shot, the best one in the field, John. The last 3 races, he's gone from a 17, 10, 8. His first 2 races in the States were both at Santa Anita at a mile. Not bad. 10-8, which is the best races he's had in his career. Even though there were 4th place finishes, at least he's on the rail this time. I'm not sure that's going to be better or worse. I mean, if you take a look at it, he started 5th and 9th in the other 2 races, so at least he's on the rail here. I'm not saying he's a horse I like to finish 1st or 2nd, but again, if I want to make some money here, maybe I get lucky at a 15-1 shot finishing 2nd.
Well, the only problem with this horse is you probably made a mistake here because this horse hasn't been out in over a year. It looks like he ran in January of this year, but it's a whole year ago. So he's technically been out of racing for close to 13 months. So, if you want to bet a horse like that coming back off of 13 months, go ahead. But it's not an easy thing to do. And not only that, this horse's races his last couple of races have been going long. This looks like it's a race back it's a prep for a different race down the road. You know what I mean? They're giving him one in his first race back, so that's the reason I don't like him.
Yeah, and a rider change too. Pratt and Castellano down to Cedillo.
Yeah, Abel Cedillo, he's fine. I mean, he's certainly capable, but that's another reason to think that this horse isn't ready for his best this Saturday.
All right, now it's interesting because speaking of a horse with time off, Gregorian Chant, the 2-horse, a 7-2 shot. He hasn't raced since. He had. I want to throw this in there because he's coming off a race just recently. But my point is going to be that if you take a look at the way that he's run, he's been very inconsistent in his sheets. He's gone from a 13 to a 9, 11 to a 6, and a 14 to a 6. But if you look at it, when he went to a 13 to a 9, he had 2 months off. When he went to a 9 to 11, just 1. When he was 11 to 6, 2 months again. When he went 6 to 14, 1 month. And then once again, when he makes a forward move, 14 to 6, he has 2 months. So the bottom line is this horse who comes in now with not 1 month, not 2 months, but 6 weeks off, gives us something to chew on. But the bottom line is 2 6s in his last 3 races. 7-2 is not exactly what, is going to help us as far as the odds are concerned. But it is interesting that he races a lot better when he has more time off.
Well, you could look at it that way, or you could look at it the way that I'm going to look at it. The 14 off the 6, 2 starts back, that was a marathon race, 1.5 miles. So, not every horse could go a distance of ground. Every horse could go short, but not every horse could go long. And as a matter of fact, numbers have less to do with it when you're asked to go these marathon distances, because you could either go the distance or you can't go the distance. Then if you go back 3 races, back when he ran the 11 off of the 9, that was a paceless race, and he actually won that race. I'm much stronger on this horse than you are. I think this horse is very strong here. To do what he did last time out, coming off of Lasix, cutting back from 1.5 miles to 6 furlongs and running that race, to me, that's very strong. I think this horse is going to run another 6, and I think he's going to be very tough to beat on Saturday. The other fast horse in the race, when we get to it, is going to be Jolie Olympica. But it looks like a 2-horse race to me, because these 2 horses are just, I think, heads and shoulders above the rest of the field.
Mark, what do you think about the 2?
Well, the 2 is, as John mentioned, he's a miler who ran 6 furlongs for his first time. He won here in his last race. I think he fits the race here real well. And his numbers, the Ragozin numbers, as John mentions here, he's a horse that looks to be favorable in the race. I have him on the board, one of my 3 horses on the board. I have to agree with John here. I think he's got a big chance in this race.
All right, the 3, Bob and Jackie's a 4-1 shot. And Bob and Jackie, Figueroa was a long-time rider for this horse, but now Van Dyke takes over. Not sure why that is the case. First time that this horse will run 6 furlongs in his last 10 races. He's back-to-back second-place finishes, but those are 2 10s. At 4-1, I'm just not totally interested.
No, I agree with you. The fact that he didn't come back to the 7s that he ran last year is negative. You want to come back to those fast races, and as you get older, it becomes more difficult to do so. He's now a 5-year-old. At 4-1, he offers no value at all to me, and I think you have better options at longer prices.
Mark?
Well, another miler going the first time at this distance here. He did run 6.5 furlongs here. He ran second in the race before he broke his maiden, but it's still not 6 furlongs what this race is. He has a nose for the money. He's been in the money 8 of his 10 career races, but I just don't know if he fits in this race.
All right, the 4 is Sumbia. I have no idea. Sombaye. All right. I like that. That's better than what the heck I was saying. Anyway, Platte Miller, that's a nice combo. 4-1. I'm not too happy about that because he's run a 12 and an 11 in his first 2 races. What's interesting is the last 2 times Pratt's been on board, he's been victorious. So Pratt's back on, but again, 4-1, 12 and 11. That disappoints me.
No, this is exactly what I was talking about horses that get older and they progressively are getting worse. Last year he had 7s and 8s. This year can't break the 11. So that's a negative sign. Not only that, he doesn't offer any value. This horse is also 4-1. And the fact that it's Miller and Pratt, so you're going to be sure that they're going to get bet extra because of that. And at 4-1, no bargain, and not a horse that I'm interested in playing.
Mark?
Well, this is a horse that last raced 6 furlongs 10 races ago back at Monmouth when he got beat by a nose, but that's a long time ago. As John mentions here, this horse is getting older and not any better. Flavien Prat, I think, fits the horse real well. If you look at him the last 2 times he was up on him, he won the Grade 3 Canadian Turf at Gulfstream. He's won both races at a mile with Platte. The jockey and the horse fit, but I think he's just a little bit, his prime is behind him right now, and I think he's outclassed in this race.
Yeah, and I think the odds are going to get a little bit higher than 4-1 on this.
Because of,
I mean, I might consider him at 8-1 or something like that, but not at 4-1.
He'll never be 8-1.
Well, there's just a lot of one of these horses is going to drop.
Yeah, someone's going to be forgotten at the windows, no question about it. That's true, but it's not going to be Pratt and Miller.
The 5 is Cistron, a 7-2 shot, back-to-back 9s to start the year. And actually, this is a horse that has not run since May of 2020. And this was the one that I had noticed. Now, yes, very consistent sheets. It's the first thing I looked at. I was like, wow. I mean, look, last 3 years running, he's only got 1 sheet number outside the top 10. That's very impressive. This is the oldest horse in the field by 2 years. But get this is his first race in 10 months. We just talked about the 1 horse and the 14-month layoff. Well, the last time this horse had a long layoff, which was 8 months, he came back and ran in this race and won it.
Yeah, but that's because you needed a 9 that day to win. You need better than a 9 this Saturday to win this race. Not only that, last year he was 6, and now he's 7. Not only that, he only had 2 races all of last year. That's negative. Listen, the fact that they're bringing him back in this spot, okay. I mean, you have to respect Sadler, and you're getting Rispoli, who's a terrific rider. But again, 7-2, no bargain at 7-2. That's for sure.
Especially when you got 3 wins in 21 lifetime on turf.
Yeah. Okay. And the fact that you're 7 years old and hasn't been out in 11 months, that doesn't help.
Mark?
Well, I think he's 7-2 largely because the horse has won over $700,000 in his career. He's a sprinter, but this is the first time at 6 furlongs on turf. He's a better horse on dirt actually than he is on turf if you take a look at that. But the fact that he's won all this money, I think he's a little bit overpriced in this race here. I agree with John here. I think there's a little bit better value looking elsewhere on this
Before
card.
I wrap up with Jolie Olympica, do either of you guys like the 6 or the 8?
No. The 6 is slow. I mean, the 8, if you wanted to make a case for a 15-1 shot, this horse at least once upon a time ran an 8 last year, 10 earlier this year. I don't like him either. No, I don't like either one of those.
The 6 is 12-1. The 8 is 15-1.
Did the 6 bounce in his last race off of a good effort the race before?
Yeah.
I didn't see the numbers.
8-11.
He did? Okay.
All right, and then finally...
By the way, those who are on the dirt, his one and only race on the turf was at 19. 19's, what's that going to be?
And then finally, this is going to be my win play. I'm just going to go win on the female. And I have the girls against the boys. Well, the girl against the boys. Jolie Olympica, a 3-1 shot. Hopefully, the odds will be better. But look, 5 races here in the States. 6, 10, 5, 7, 7. Excellent sheet lines compared to the others. I know, again, that she's going up against the boys. I get that. But I just, you can't really, the sheets are excellent compared to the other horses in the field.
Well, she's certainly the horse to beat. She has 8 lifetime starts. She's never been worse than second. 5 wins in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't get much better than that. It is a female against the boys, which I guess counts for something. But her numbers, every race she runs, really is good enough. I was going to make the box 2-6, 6-2, Gregorian Chant and Jolie Olympica, and hope that Mike Smith screws it up on the 7, which is always a possibility. And
okay. And Mark?
Well, as John mentioned, it's a very lightly raced horse here. He's also the worst. He's ran 4 races at Santa Anita. The worst he's ever finished it on this track is second as well. You do have that Mandela-Smith combination here off a monster workout on the 1st of March. This horse looks like is fit and ready to run in this race.
Your pick?
I got to go with the 7 horse, put him up on top, and probably back him up with the 2 horse.
7-2 exacta. No box.
Box always. John, I didn't catch who's John. What's John's call on the race?
6-2.
Making it 7-2, the same numbers.
There we go.
I
like
you
that.
said 6-2. Okay.
No, it says no shot. The horse that ran the 19 on the turf.
All right. So
He
we're
did
all
say
so
6,
we're all
but
with
I
the
know
7.
he meant 7. Yes.
I meant 7.
That's bad news. All right. Let's go with our race of the week, the Beholder, Grade 1. And this race actually used to be called the Vanity Mile Stakes. And then they decided the Beholder horse, who won the race in 2016, was just too good that they decided to give her the name of this race. This is a filly and mares race, 1 mile. Again, Santa Anita. We start with the 1, Swiss Skydiver. We all remember Swiss Skydiver. She had an excellent year last year. She was runner-up in the Bluegrass, runner-up in the Kentucky Oaks, then won the Preakness and shocked everybody. Then disappointed in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Maybe she ran out of gas. So anyway, she's 8-5 in the race. And here's an interesting tidbit here. She has only raced once at Santa Anita. That was the Santa Anita Oaks. She won the race from the pole.
Okay. Well, here's my knock on the horse. This horse has a whole season ahead of her. They will not have her squeezed to the max this week. Of course she could win. She 100% could win. But you could be sure that they're looking down the road for bigger and better things. I understand this is a big stake race, but it's her first race back. And horses like this, they never bring them back fully cranked, and they never give their best performance their first start back off of a layoff, especially when they have a whole campaign lined up for her. If she wins, she's doing it all on her own without any super training or anything like that. You know, McPeak is extremely conservative. He takes his time with horses, and this is a good horse. This is a great horse, and I don't think she's primed for her best effort. And if you're going to beat her, this is the time you want to beat her first race back. And I'm going to take a shot to beat her with another horse in the race.
Most likely the class in the race, a lot of pedigree, won almost $2 million in just 12 races, as John mentioned, all those big races that she's done so well in before. Would you say, John, can a horse bounce off its last race if there's 126 days in between races? Is that
no?
No. Okay.
Or what is it? Okay. 5 weeks is the max?
I didn't think so either. Okay.
But why would you want to think she's going to bounce? She's off of a bad race. Her last race, she bounced in her last race.
Okay.
That was the race she ran the 12 in, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the distaff. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay, but you'd answered my question though. With a lot of time off a great number of
more than 2 months, you're not, unless it's a huge race. Let's say the horse ran a 0 or a number completely out of whack for the horse. Then sometimes it actually finishes them for a while, if not for their career. I've seen horses that ran races out of nowhere and they're done. You could put a fork in them; they'll never be the same. It happens, unfortunately.
Well, I think John's analogy is spot on here. This might not be the race that this horse is really targeted at. A long time between races, just getting this horse fit for the season, if you will. Here, much the class in the race can probably win the race on talent alone, but there's better handicaps in the race.
All right,
she could definitely win. Believe me, she could win, but she's going to win on her own. She's, she could be that much better than the field. Certainly a possibility.
The 2 is Golden Principle, an 8-1 shot. 4 straight 9s coming in here, and those are the best numbers for Golden Principle. Rider Chains. Mike Smith jumped on board. The horse was doing pretty much nothing. Mike Smith jumped on board, gets a win, 3 second-place finishes, all 9s on the sheets. Now Mike Smith is back off. Juan Hernandez is on. This is a Baffert horse, but the horse has never won at Santa Anita, 0 for 4, but 4 for 4 in the money, 8-1 shot Golden Principle. What do you think about this horse, John?
I think she's too slow. You have faster horses in the race. You know, her last 4 races were all 9. She would have to run a 5 or 6 to beat this field. And if Baffert didn't get the 5 or 6 out of her already, he's not going to get it out of her now.
Mark?
Horse appears to be improving, but against who? Like John mentions here, runs second in a couple of stakes races, but against who? Those numbers really maybe didn't justify running second in those races. Has run a mile only once, and that was a win at Del Mar here. I just think there's a lot other better horses in this race.
All right, the 3 is Harvest Moon. And Harvest Moon was red hot, just like Swiss Skydiver. Won 4 straight races, even hotter. Won 4 straight races. And then, just like Swiss Skydiver, laid an egg in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, finishing 4th. But Harvest Moon has improved in most of her races. She's kind of leveled off, though. Last 3 races, 9-9-9. So it's interesting that the 2, an 8-1 shot, 9-9-9-9. The 3 is a 5-2 shot, 9-9-9. I just said 5-2. I don't see any reason why I would jump on this horse.
No, she's reverse buried. She looks good on paper. She's won 4 out of 6 races lifetime. She's earned $340,000. The only reason her 9s are better than the 2's 9s are because her 9s are doing it at a route of ground, where the other horse has done it sprinting. You always want to, if you have a choice, and you could bet a horse that's been going long as opposed to a horse going short, you'll take the horse going long with the same numbers every day of the week, because that horse has already proven to you that she can go the distance, where we don't know if the 2 could go the distance, but we know that the 3 could go the distance. The only time that you may switch would be in this case where you're being rewarded because the 2 is 8-1 and the 3 is 5-2. So, you're willing to gamble that the horse could get the distance because you're being rewarded at the window. But in either case, neither horse I don't think has a shot.
And Golden Principle has run the 1 mile one time. That's the only good thing about the horse. The odds and the fact that she's 1 for 1 at 1 mile. But again, that's Mike Smith. This is Juan Hernandez. Mark?
Well, like Swiss Skydiver, this horse is also off 126 days. Ran 4th in the Breeders' Cup Distaff in November. Flavien Prat fits the horse real well. Has won 4 of the 5 races, sitting on top of the horse. Very lightly raced coming into this race here. I can understand why the horse is 5-2, but it's not going to be the kind of horse John I can see is going to hurry up to get to, especially being with this long time off. I think there's another horse that John's got his eye on in this race.
And I will say this, by the way, back to Golden Principle. Anytime you can get a decent horse at 8-1 with Bob Baffert, you have to think about it.
Yeah.
All right, the 4 is. What the hell's the name of this horse? Sanus?
No, we just did it, Mark. You know what it is.
Sanus.
Oh, this is the horse that you guys talked about. Okay, what was it?
I think we consensus that being Sanus.
Okay, right. Yeah. 4-1 shot. I have no idea why. The best race this horse ran was a 10 at Churchill Downs. That was in November. Ran an 11 at this track in that win in January, but 4-1, Mark. I mean, 4-1.
4-1.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, John.
Well, 4-1, John or Mark is too short a price on this horse.
Do you concur?
I think.
Yeah, you got a South American horse who's raced 1 time at Santa Anita, and you're pricing the horse like that horse was a big number, a big race. I just don't see it in the race.
The horse hasn't run a single digit yet. These other horses, the 1, the 2, and the 3 have all run single digits. Why would you even consider this horse?
All right. The 5 is Miss Stormy, a 20-1 shot. The one thing that's good about the 5 is that she won her best race was actually on this racetrack at 1 mile. And she's only run 1 mile once in her life. And that was that February race last year when she ran a 7 and won the race. And again, the only time she ran a mile on a dirt fast track at Santa Anita. But anything with this long shot?
No, if she runs at 7, obviously she has a chance. But why would she run? There's nothing that indicates that she's going to run the 7. The 17 first start back off the layoff was nothing to write home about. Then she improved to a 14 2 starts back. And she went back on Lasix last time out on the turf. I don't like this horse in this spot.
All right, now if you can get a Mark.
Well, I think they gave up on this horse on sprints on turf. looking to lengthen the horse out here. Nicely conditioned, getting ready for a route race like this after 2 sprint races. But like John, I don't think the horse is fast enough to be in this race.
All right, now if you can get 4-1, maybe 5-1, you should be happy because as time goes by, is another Baffert horse with Mike Smith that I mean, come on, if you get 4-1, I'm going to be like ecstatic because 4 races, 12, 12, 10, and a 5. The 5 occurred long enough that I'm not worried about a bounce. She just gets better every time she races, not only on the result side, but also on the sheet side. So I hope I get 4-1, John.
Yeah, I agree. This was going to be my top pick. And not that she's better than other horses in this race. She's just the now horse in this spot. You know, he's not looking for this. Well, maybe he is looking for this horse to do better things towards the end of the year. But he's babied this horse. He's given her 4 races. He sprinted her 3 times before finally sending her long. And what did she do? She reacted with a 5 last time out, which was a terrific number. She's done nothing wrong. 4 starts, each race better than the previous one. You know, people are going to tell you, well, this horse doesn't have the class that the other horses have. But how do we know that? She only has 4 starts. Let's see what she does. She could certainly repeat that 5. And if she repeats the 5, she's going to be tough for the simple reason that I don't think the 1's going to be squeezed to run her 6, you know, and I don't think the 3 is anything special, or certainly not, you know, not in 5 range yet, not running the 5s. Smith got off the 2 to ride the 6, so that's another plus. You know, he always rode the 2, and now he gets on the 6, so listen, you just got to close your eyes and bet this horse and hope she runs.
Yeah, matter of fact, a 7-6 double is probably not a bad idea either. Mark?
There you go. You can play 2 doubles. Well, I'll be playing 2 and 7 to the 6.
Okay.
But that's a good idea. That's why we picked these 2 races out, as a matter of fact, because you have an opportunity to play a double there
Okay.
also.
Mark?
Well, this is the horse that I like in this race. John mentions very lightly raced. His 5th start, all 4 in the money. Mike Smith is the Bob Baffert because Bob Baffert wants Mike Smith on this horse here. He's off that impressive allowance win by 9 lengths. That was that big number he put up. Was it a 5 you mentioned, John, in that race?
Going long.
Yeah, the question I was going to ask you is that bounce range? Is that material here?
Well, she's off since January 17th, so that's almost 2 months.
Okay.
So she's safe, I hope.
Yeah, 5 weeks,
I
right,
think
John? You would say that's kind of the limit you want?
Yeah, 5 to 6 weeks you want.
I think this horse's career is all in front of this horse right now.
Yes.
All in front of it. And if this horse wins this race here, it'll make a big statement.
Where do you? By the way, where do these the females? Where do they go? You were mentioning both Swiss Skydiver and this horse. They've got a lot of big races to look forward to.
Yeah, they're going to have other female races that
Anything
whatever.
Like
they're going
major?
The Breeders' Cup. They have a Breeders' Cup. They have the Matriarch. They have all kinds of races for them. The same route, usually when there's a male race that day, they have a female version a lot of times of the same race, so something comparable.
Okay. And we're not even going to waste our time with the 7 and the 8. So, what's your final pick then, John?
I'm just going to play 2 doubles, the 2 and 7 and the 7th going into the 6 in this race. And if for some reason I'm not alive in doubles, well, then I'll bet the 6 to win.
Mark?
Well, I like the 6 horses I mentioned here, and I can never throw out Swiss Skydiver. I know it's been a long time between drinks of water for the race, but I think the horse is that good. I think those are the 2 horses that I think will be at the wire, 1 and 2, 6 and 1.
6-1. All right, then I'll do 6 and 2 then, as far as an exacta to try to make some money. So we both like the 7 in the 7th and the 6 in the 8th. Let's hope that's a good thing. John, appreciate your time as always. Go eat, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Stay safe and be well, and we'll talk soon.
Mark,
thank you.
You too.
See you, Mark.
Appreciate it as
you
always.
You guys stay safe, and remember, may the horse be with you guys.
All
okay?
right, Mark. And by the way, college basketball's in full force, so playbooksports.com. This is the time of year.
Yeah, March Madness right now. We're putting together our March Madness preview guide as I'm speaking to you right now. It'll be ready on Tuesday at playbooksports.com. Must have if you're interested in the college basketball tournament. Tuesday, look for the March Madness Guide at playbooksports.com.
Mark, appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
You guys have a great week. Take care.